Good morning. This is Mona, and this is my morning view. It's rainy, misty out on this spring edition of 2025, and today is Memory Monday. All right. I'm tired. It might sound like a feisty Friday because I'm tired. I don't know if you can see my eyes, but they're like bloodshot from lack of sleep. Kind of lost my peace yesterday. Couldn't sleep. Told myself I wasn't going to lose my peace after I lost my peace. Because I want to not stay in that state. We're emotional beings. We can be emotional. And we can be angry and we can be agitated. Jesus was angry. He took down the money changers at the temple because they were greedy and were not using honest scales and was price gouging the people. So, I lost my peace yesterday. I didn't turn over any money changers. What I did is I wrote a 2-page letter on a Word document, because you should never email when you're angry, and you should never send it when you're angry. So you write it out on a Word document. That keeps you from hitting that send button in a moment of passion. And then you let it sit for a day or two. And then you delete it. Normally. You don't let the sun go down on your wrath. Sun went down. Thought I was good. Tired. Was laying there sleeping. And then the dog started barking. And barking. And barking. So by midnight, I was wide awake. Yes, you. I'm talking about you. Right there. So, I got up because I couldn't find a comfortable way to lay on my bed. There was no comfort. And now I'm wide awake from the dog barking. And I go out to get comfortable on the couch. I'm like, oh, I just got to sit up maybe. Maybe my body just needs another position. So I went out onto the couch. Talked to the Lord for a few minutes. Talked about my aggravation. Talked about how, God, I want to do it your way. Because right now, I want to fight against flesh and blood. But I don't want to fight against flesh and blood. But if I take the tactics of the enemy and I use the tactics of the enemy, the flesh and blood is what's going to get hurt. I don't want to do that. So God, how do I approach this? How do I show you and not me? Now, mind you, Jesus told it like it was to the Pharisees. Those that were not learned, he showed grace. So I laid there last night on the couch, not getting any sleep, succeeding in getting a crank in my neck, which I still have. Went to bed about 2:45 in the morning, because I'm like, I can either lay out there with a crank in my neck and not sleep, or I can lay in my bed and still not be comfortable in that sleep. And at 4 o'clock, my alarm went off, like it usually does on a Monday morning. And then I found a little bit of sleep after that. Just a little. Repositioning of the bed. Now I got the bed all to myself, because my husband had to get up for work. And the only thing I got last night was King Saul. King Saul. Now, it's a little fresh on my mind because we watched a movie about David the other night. Like, I think maybe Friday night, Saturday night. I don't even remember what night it was. King Saul. And I was thinking to myself, I have never been in this situation before. I haven't seen this before. So I do not know how to respond. I don't have a reactionary course. And then a memory showed up. Oh, it's Memory Monday. Memory Monday. So, God recalled a scenario from when I was 18 years old. I'd only been a Christian for about a year. I was young. I certainly wasn't perfect. But I tried really hard to be as much like Jesus as I knew to be. To try to do things the Jesus way. And like Saul, I feared the people. Not all people. I could go into battle. I didn't have a problem with that. With the people that I wasn't in a relationship with. But the people I was in relationship with, I feared losing their friendship. I feared that if I didn't show up as Jesus, they would see my faults. And if they saw my faults, then they would narrow in on those faults. It's starting to rain more. So I gotta come over here and let the dog in. You have to go in. Go ahead. Right. So I'll just hang out under the eave over here to finish this up. So I thought that I was doing all the right things. But I kind of knew I wasn't doing the right things because I feared man more than I feared God. I didn't have very many friends growing up. You could kind of say I didn't have any friends at all. I had some superficial friends. I had some friends that used me for however they could use me, in whatever capacity they could use me. So I didn't know how to be a friend. And I know that I made mistakes in my friendship. I took for granted that they were kind, that they were giving, because they're Christians. Shouldn't they ought to be that way? So I didn't say thank you. I made a lot of mistakes. Because I just assumed that's what they're supposed to do. It's a little chilly out here and windy. But the birds are out. I have about 8 finches over there on the feeder. Can't see them, but they're there. So King Saul told Samuel, I did everything I was supposed to do. Oh, but why do I hear the bleeping of sheep and the mooing of cattle? You were supposed to destroy everything. Why is the king still alive? You didn't do what God asked you to do, Saul. You did what the people wanted you to do. You did what you wanted to do, King Saul. But we worship. Come worship with us. We saved the best cattle to give to God, to sacrifice to the Lord. And Samuel said, it is better to obey than to sacrifice. Obedience. So what is God trying to tell me in this situation? Because I don't see where there's a connection to me being obedient. And then the thought, flesh and blood. It's not what we fight. But it's principalities and powers, spiritual forces in high places. And how do you fight the principalities and powers without fighting the flesh and blood? How do you separate the two so that one doesn't get hurt? And one of those things is to not use the enemy's tools. The enemy used this tool, and then I want to use the same tool. When you go into the operating table, you don't go in with high blood pressure or a fever. Anything that signals that there could be a problem on the operating table. But it's life-threatening. You have to operate. So you do what you can to de-escalate the circumstances around it before you operate. I didn't give details about why I was upset yesterday. I didn't give details of what happened back in 1982. I don't need to. You have your own details. You have your own scenarios. When I'm talking here, I'm taking real life scenarios. Real life scenarios. But I'm not putting names to them. And I may change them up a bit. I might add some things for artistic flair to try to get a point across. Because I'm not talking really about the individual. If you're watching me here, take note, I'm talking about you. Who is you? Anybody who's watching. I'm talking about you. I'm talking about me. I'm pointing the finger right back at me. I'm learning from my own morning view. If we want to use the enemy's tools. So I thought about deleting the whole thing. And I was like, nope. Nope, because I really still want to send it. Nope. Then I was like, okay, I need to edit it. I need to take out anything that is me. If it's me, it needs to come out. That's not a whole lot in there, but it's me. There's me there. I'm blunt. I tell it like I see it. I tell it how my viewpoint is about the situation. If it sounds like the accuser of the brethren, it needs to come out. There are parts of it that sounds like the accuser of the brethren, because I wanted to use the same tools. God doesn't want us to use their tools. No. I can't remember whether David used Goliath's sword to chop off his head, because I don't think David could have picked up his sword. I want to be truthful. I don't want to hurt the person. But I don't want the spirit to get out of Dodge. But if the person doesn't want the spirit to get out of Dodge because they're familiar, well, then there's nothing you can do about it. Because if you attempt to do something about it, it'll come back 7 times worse, and you don't want that. You don't want to hurt the flesh and blood. So how do we fight? How do we fight principalities and powers without hurting the individual? And I know the answer is in the Bible, because it can pierce the soul. It can separate bone from marrow. It can do the laser work that it needs to do. And we can pray. But the outcome is not up to you. The outcome is not up to me. We do what Jesus tells us to do. We do what the Father tells us to do. We do what the Holy Spirit prompts us to do. We don't do things because you fear losing a relationship. You don't do things because you fear the people. You do it because of obedience. That's my morning dew. Now, the stuff I'm supposed to do in the beginning, in the middle, and in the end. go to my YouTube page. My YouTube channel, Mona E. Harrison. Hit subscribe. Hit like. Watch the videos. Fast speed it if you need to. Do it while you're getting dressed. Do it while you're putting on your makeup. Do it while you're brushing your hair. Whatever. You can go in there and listen to it while you're sitting on the toilet. It doesn't matter to me. Okay. But watch the videos. If they are content that you feel is worthy to share, or content that you feel is important for someone you know to hear, share it. Share the content. Comment. If you have an answer for my questions, sometimes I don't come here with answers. Sometimes I come here with questions. Okay? I don't have all the answers. If you have some answers, comment. Comment here on Facebook. Comment on my YouTube channel. Like here on Facebook. Like on my YouTube channel. I need 50 subscribers before they give me more than 3 minutes. I know I take longer than I should on these things, but I definitely cannot tell the content in 3 minutes. It just doesn't work that way. So, that's where it's at. So just pretend I said that at the beginning, then I said it in the middle, and I said it at the end. Because I just don't remember those housekeeping things. I'm not administrative. It's not my gifting. So I will see you tomorrow for Tips Tuesday. Thank you, Luann, for watching, and have a blessed day. Bye, everybody.